Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Lasse and I build and share custom LEGO models, some of which you see here on the table. The question I get asked the most is how to get parts for a particular model. The answer to that question depends slightly on what you want to build. It can be either a remote controlled truck, a robot like from FLL and WRO, sculptures such as this monkey, cars that are scale models in scale 1 to 20 like these from Le Mans, or maybe an even older model such as this Echo, or it can be a GBC module like these stacked right here. In this video I will first present general tips that will work for any kind of model that you want to build and find parts for, and then for each of the 5 types of models I will give you individual tips that help with exactly that type of model. Please use the timestamps below in order to jump to the part of video that you are interested in. Okay, so the tips and tricks I will show to you in this video revolve around the use of Bricklink.com. Bricklink.com is a website where a lot of people are selling Lego parts. The first thing you have to do is to make sure that you have a user at Bricklink. So you just sign up and then you will see that you have My Bricklink like this. And what we want to be working on or use as a functionality here is wanted list. So upload and then use Bricklink XML format. Now you want to create a wanted list on Bricklink because using the wanted list, the Bricklink software is able to help you make sure that you are ordering from the cheapest or least expensive stores in order to get your parts for the models you want to build. Okay, but we need to make such a parts list. So let's take my latest model, the By and Large trailer, and I want to make a Bricklink wanted list. So I go to the parts, then you can see it loads the parts that are being used in this trailer. Okay, down here we have generate classic Bricklink wanted list. Good, click there. Copy to clipboard. You can also download it if you want to do that, but you can see at Bricklink here we want to paste it. So I copied it there and I paste it here. Now I have the XML as it is called with all of the parts for this model. Now let's put this into a new wanted list. You can see I already made a test before this. So let's call this the By and Large trailer 2. Proceed to verify items. If it gives you an error on this page here, then please reach out to me and then I can fix it very quickly. Good. As you can see, it shows you the wanted list now. The quantities match the quantities you saw in the list over here. So if you find a part like the 3024, you can see it needs 140 of those, and that is how many we need. Very good. Once you check through this list here and perhaps change how many you need of a certain part, or if you are not too worried about the quality, you can say you want it used. That's typically cheaper, or you just want everything new, then you can set that as well. But if you go down to the bottom, you can see add to wanted list. And once you have done that, you get your wanted list. And if you go to Bricklink here, wanted list, and then you can see By and Large trailer 2 is the wanted list we have made. And that's exactly what we set up. Very nice. And you can click on Easy Buy in order for it to find the stores that carry these items. And that takes a little while because you can see 220 unique parts. That's going to take not too long. Okay, good. 5 stores is the recommendation. And then we can create our cart in these 5 stores, and then you have to make 5 checkouts. But that is all right. I don't want to create the lots for now because I want to show you some other functionality that makes it easier to make this wanted list. And first functionality is that for many models you can change to the color. So let's change this to another color than bright light orange. Let's say I want it in yellow. Then you can see it's yellow now. So if I click on the parts, you can see that instead of having bright light orange parts, it shows them in yellow, exactly as you expect. Now this part doesn't really come in yellow. So what do we do here? Well, if we look at it in list form, And yeah, we can show notes. That's all right. You can make notes for yourself. Then if we find this yellow part with the Wall-E logo, then you can say that, yeah, you can mark it. And that is what I want to do. I mark it here. I don't have to make a note, or maybe say, don't include not in yellow. And typically then you want an additional one of these, so one more of these, please. So let's go down and generate our Bricklink wanted list. Scrolling down, 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 click here and say, do I want to include all parts? No. Do I only want the one that I don't want to include? Don't include, not in yellow? Nope. I want all of the other parts. Very good. Copy to clipboard. Wanted list. Okay, very good. You remember the procedure. Upload. Classic wanted list. Do I want, let's just put it into a new wanted list in trailer in yellow and paste the content here. Good. Let's take a look. So remember we did two changes. I excluded the one part with the print, and I want an additional part of the 2x2 slope. So let's see if we can find them here. And here we have the tiles. Here we have the 2x2 slope. One more of these, please. Very good. Then I say instead of one, I want two of those. And that is pretty much it. You can also see that the comment came in here, and we can make the change so that when I go to the bottom, I can say this is what I want, add to wanted list, and it is done. And then you're ready to order those parts. Okay, so let's say that you already have a lot of these parts. You might already have this wheel here, you might already have that part there, but you can't quite remember which parts you already have. And for that, we have another website called rebrickable.com. If you make a user here, you can upload the sets that you already have. As an example, I've uploaded my own sets here, and I have a lot of sets. But what's important is that now when I go to see a mock that I want to build, such as the trailer just shown before, this. I will make a link to this page here in the description below so that you can see all of my mocks on Rebrickable. If there's any mock that is missing on Rebrickable but you want to build it using the functionalities, then just reach out to me and I can upload it here, no problem. So let's build the By and Large trailer. Here you can see in that if I want to build this one, I already have most of the parts in my inventory. That is excellent, because which parts do I then need? Which are the ones that I don't have? Build this mock, and then we can see what it says. I'm missing 9 parts. Okay, which ones? Aha, these ones. Good, I want to buy these parts. Fantastic. It can search for me in Bricklink, as you saw before, also Brickowl, which is a competitor to Bricklink. Independent stores, if they're not on Bricklink or Brickowl. That might be eBay and stuff like that. And then it shows you the stores here that have all of the parts. And if you keep scrolling, you'll also find stores that just have most of the parts you need, and then you can add to cart directly. So this is all functionality that Nathan and the Rebrickable team have made in order to make it easy for you to get the parts that you need in order to build mocks, such as the ones that I have on brickhub.org. And those are the tips and tricks I wanted to show you that generally work no matter what model you want to build. Now let's go back to the different types of models, and then I can give you some tips and tricks for each of the different types. When it comes to scale cars such as those you see here, I have two very important tips. One is that in the building instructions, I often have parts in colors that are very strange. As an example, if you're building the Corvette, you will find a lot of brown and white parts. But if you look at the car, you can't see anything brown and white, and that is because all those parts are invisible. So if you look inside of the model, you will find a lot of more colorful parts. It doesn't matter what state those strangely colored parts are in, or even what color they have. So try to see if you can eliminate any of those first before ordering them new. That should help you with the budget for that. When it comes to the stickers, you can see there are two types of stickers on my models. There are the ones that have been professionally made, like the ones on the Corvettes here and on the Porsches. But back in 2017, when I first made this prototype, I was sitting at Le Mans and gluing them with this wood adhesive onto the model, and that actually works. So these stickers right here are just normal paper that have been printed out using a normal printer. You can see the red is not really that sharp, but since the car is mostly white and the stickers are mostly on white surfaces, that actually works out really well. And should you make your own stickers, then I recommend considering this approach, as it is much cheaper than getting the stickers professionally made. When it comes to building model team trucks, well, I always motorize my trucks, or most of the time I motorize them. That is typically quite expensive. If you want to not motorize your own trucks and just want them as display pieces, then you can save a lot of money that way. A new thing I have started doing is also to use specialized controllers such as S-bricks in many trucks and also PFX bricks in many trucks. As an example, this Magnum right here is run using a PFX brick. And even worse, typically when you're building PFX, you also want a loudspeaker, you want lights, and in order to put lights inside, you also need a board for that. So it becomes a bit expensive, but this is also an expensive hobby. I am linking to where you can find S-bricks and PFX bricks in the description below. If you want to build one of my Mindstorm robots, then first of all, it's important that you ignore the colors and the state of the bricks. If you want to build a Mindstorm robot, it's typically because you want to compete in FLL, WRO, or another competition. That typically also means that you are representing a school, a class, or a team. In that case, you should contact resources that are local to you in order to find parts cheaper than what you can get in Bricklink and other marketplaces. The local resources in your area can either be retailers that have special business agreements with LEGO, or perhaps a university or school that are already enrolling in the various competitions and helping out teams. I recommend reaching out to them in order to make sure that either you can get used robots, parts, or at least getting parts for a more favorable price than what you can get from the other normal channels. And definitely cheaper than what you can get by just getting a Mindstorm robot directly from retail. When it comes to sculptures, such as this monkey, my only tip is really that there's not really any way for you to cut corners other than looking at the parts that are, as an example, inside of the arm. The color and state of those parts do not really matter, but unfortunately there are not that many parts that are not exposed. For GBC modules, it can be an extremely expensive hobby because parts wear down and parts are not cheap. You can see this module here has been running for more than a day in total, and there's a lot of wear and tear. Now, when you're building GBC modules, it's important to remember that the colors do not matter. The only reason why I have yellow, red, black and gray modules in this module is because those are the colors that I have at hand when I was building these 12 copies of the same module. One of the most important aspects of making a GBC module is what is going to be running inside of the modules. I have a lot of these boards because I have been to many GBC events. 10 years ago or so, LEGO was actually giving the exhibitors parts such as boards and motors for coming and displaying our modules, because you can see it really wears down, and if you're looking at these boards you can also see that they are not perfect anymore. A solution to the problem of getting boards for your GBC modules is to use marbles instead. So instead of getting official original LEGO parts, use marbles with a diameter of 14 millimeters. A lot of marbles have small holes in them or indents, But if there's just a small indent, then it doesn't really matter, because even this French ball here, you can see it has a tiny indent on this side and even a hole in the other. If your marbles are like that, then you should be still all good. Only be aware if you're building a module that uses the weight of balls, then you should also find marbles that are of a similar weight as the GBC balls. That is all for me now. I hope that you found one or more aspects of this video informative. If I missed anything, then please comment below. In any case, take care, have fun, and I will see you in the next video.